2, 3. 3, 2, 1.
So we're kind of hoping like that the sky, is gonna pop underneath these clouds and just give this little blanket of clouds a little bit of color. I think that's like one of always the risks you take as a landscape photographer is like you're always kind of looking to go when the weather conditions are adverse, because that's when you get the most dramatic sky. When it's bluebird and sunny, it's when you have, big dark clouds, towering over all your landscapes and your features, and you kind of want that little glimpse, that little moment. And usually it's pretty fleeting, but it's kind of what makes it worth it. So, yeah. So one thing I'm always looking for when I'm dealing with kind of a figure on a landscape is like the separation of like where their body is to the sky, right? Because if he's just like plastered against that rock, or someone's, who knows, they're lost in the trees or whatever, you're really gonna lose all the details. So you really wanna have that separation of their body, against, some sort of a flat background, which is nice because right now we kind of have this cool silhouette where he's basically climbing. He has this little bit of movement, where you kind of see him painted against the sky, and that really gives you more of a dramatic subject. And in fact, when you're looking at the photograph, your eye is gonna be drawn to that exactly. You're gonna go right there. And even more intensified when you have that brilliant, bright sun. And that's kind of what you're looking for. The one thing that's always important is to maximize the opportunities to get different angles. I tend to be pretty mobile. Sometimes it messes me up. Sometimes, it gives me a ton more opportunities or different looks to one single frame, but I hate sticking around one spot, because when you have something that's super cool and feels like once in a lifetime, last thing you want to do is have one frame of the whole thing. I think that's kind of how photography goes most of the time, is flexibility, especially when you're shooting adventure sports. You could travel halfway around the world and go to shoot a mountain range that you could never see because it's covered by clouds. So what do you do then? Well, you have to be able to think quickly on your feet and sort of, I guess, evaluate your surroundings and make quick decisions. And that's kind of, I think, what makes somebody be able to work in intense situations, and when situations are just more fun and you're just trying to get something unique, is to be able to be creative on the spot. So that's why I love coming to a place with an idea, but also leaving with something different. I always love to kind of try and nail my thought, my concept, whatever that initially was, and then again, leave with something unexpected, something I didn't plan for, and kind of leave myself open for those experiences.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe to stay up to date on all of our latest videos.